mistakes happen. Mistakes happen in life and in the toy industry. This is just some of the more common ones tend to be action figures showing up on the wrong card back or sometimes even accidentally inverted, unless in case they're purposely inverted like Batman Beyond. Or sometimes mistakes are differences between sculpt and execution. This Scorpion figure was designed to have his skin on his face mask shown around the mouth. You can see it with the lines, but he wound up being painted. So could you count that as a mistake? Maybe. Either way, most mistakes that collectors see out there tend to be usually either budget related or, honestly, sometimes people who just don't understand the concept and the content. So my name is Scott Toy Guru Neitlich. I've worked in the toy industry for, almost a quarter century now. And I want to sort of tackle the different mistakes that happen and try to offer some explanation. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right. So remember Jabba's palace and remember how C-3PO is there? I mean, he, becomes Jabba's translator and, has little adventures, some toyetic adventures at that, which, make for fun toys. See, this is what happens when you have a toyetic script. And there have been multiple toy companies that have done specific versions of C-3PO per Jabba's palace, be it the green ooze that he gets on him, or when he gets attacked by Salacious Crumb. These are two different events, though, by the way. The green goo and the attack don't happen together. No, there's no green goo on him. Which is why it's curious when Hasbro did their figure, they combined these. The Salacious Crumb attack on his eye pulling out and the green goo smeared on his face and chest and hand. So the question is, why would they, this could clearly be two different toys. Why combine them into one? Is this because they don't understand the content? Because, making one toy to represent two moments? Well, in this case, I tend to sort of lean to the idea that this is all about play value. And when you have a droid that, doesn't do much other than stand there, by giving him things like the green goo and the eye popping out, it adds play features for kids. It's kind of like that, R5-D4 with the missile that shot out of it from Power of the Force 2. So with mistakes like this that aren't screen accurate, I tend to chalk this up as trying to add value. Although I would love to see this figure re-released without the green goo, so it could be accurate. All right, let's look at another one from the other side of the aisle of a toy I worked on. So the DC Universe Classics, or Signature Series as it was towards the end, we finally got to round out Batman's gallery of rogues with a very important one, Poison Ivy, which we've been trying to get into the line for a long time. And part of the problem with her is she took a lot of sculpting. She had an entirely original torso and lower torso, which, is expensive when it comes to tooling. And as fans noted when they were reviewing her, she only had punching hands. And Poison Ivy is not really a character that's known for hand-to-hand combat. She's much more, kind of like a magical, I know she's not magical, but, like a spellcaster or having her, her arms out and grow for me kind of position. The reason for this is we didn't have the money. We couldn't afford to give her sort of, if you will, spell-casting hands or plant-growing hands. The line was selling low, and we just didn't have the tooling budget. So we had to choose to either do her like this or skip her entirely. And that was basically it. All right, this is an interesting one. So jumping back over from Mattel to Hasbro, the Indiana Jones line that accompanied the 2023 release had a lot of figures of Indy and a lot of variants, and a lot of versions of him in different suits. We'll get to that in a whole other video. Now, in particular, that figure I was just showing is this suit, the one where he meets Donovan, Walter Donovan, whose donations have been very generous over the years. Now, looking at the accessories that this figure comes with, like the bone torch there, or he comes with the second marker, the Knight's Shield, it will be the second marker. So neither of these accessories are used by this version of Indiana Jones, if you will. I mean, that person, but not in that outfit. He uses the bone torch and discovers the shield when he's in Venice, and he is wearing a suit and tie. And in fact, he even actually wears his hat for a few moments while wearing this suit and tie. So this figure could have easily been put out with the traditional fedora, or even maybe a swappable head with, fedora head and a non-fedora head. I kind of wish they would do more of those. But this suit, this version of Indy, did a lot of action. The whole sewer chase, the whole, out of the sewer, Venice, and then, the boat chase. Don't go between. So lots of action, and you could have even done a wet hair version. So yeah, lots of options if you want to do this figure, but this version is from that early scene in the movie when he and Donovan are looking at the first marker, the unearthed tablet. No flaming bone and no shield, because that's what he has to go after. In fact, it almost doesn't make sense that the Donovan figure came with the shield or the tablet marker, because in this outfit, which is his end of movie outfit, he doesn't have this at all. It should have come with a Donovan in a tuxedo. All right, you could just like keep digging deeper and deeper here, but the point being is, while there's a perfectly easy indie to do, that does have this adventure, and while I would love to chalk this up to play value, this one I think is about just ship it. That's what happens when it looks like pretty obvious that a movie is not going to be huge and the toy line is not going to be huge. So paying attention to those little details tend to get passed over, and yes, that is what happened. The movie didn't do well, the toy line got canceled, and almost any project in the toy industry is like this, where when something's going down, everyone wants to just jump off, and that's, I think, maybe what happened here. All right, this last category is absolutely a you should have known better. Other ones can be, passed away by, either movie didn't do well, ship it, or play value, or budget. But there are some things that are really well known about Spider-Man. One, he's a ladies' man. Oh, yeah. And two, he has fantastical powers that kids really like to emulate, and they work whether or not he has a costume on. His powers are not related to his costume the way Iron Man's are. For example, Iron Man, Tony Stark without armor, just Tony Stark. Now, it's great to have things like Mary Jane, especially if she's going to have her laser eyes, makes her very toyetic. But if you're going to do Peter Parker, well, you have to understand that he's still Spider-Man. I mean, all of his powers still work, right? Well, I mean, of course, yes and no. I mean, he's still super strong, and, he could still even have his Spider-Man suit under his clothes, although, yeah, I guess he has that in the second season, too. Not important. All right, the issue I'm having with this Peter Parker are his hands, his alternate hands. See there? He's got what fans call thwip hands. All right, I think you know where I'm going with this one. So, for those of you unaware of how Spider-Man's powers work, the whole bitten by radioactive spider, he can climb walls, he's super strong, very agile, and these powers work whether or not he's wearing his Spider-Man suit. So, the one power that is not part of the spider bite is his web shooters, which are artificial. That's something he invented in the comic and in the cartoon. Yes, I know in one of the movies he had organic spider shooters, but not in the cartoon. Very clear they were his invention. So, since this is a figure that's drawn from the animated series, why would he be doing thwipping hands without web shooters on? Because he does not have organic web shooters. Really, what would have made sense here is for a second set of hands, is to simply give him the wall crawling hands, which are also an existing part, because, yeah, his powers of wall crawling work whether or not he's wearing his suit. And in fact, there are several times in the show where he wall crawls as Peter Parker. So yeah, that to me is one of those you should have known wall crawling hands that work. If you're going to do the thwip hands, you got to do the the shooter as well. So there you go. I'm sure by the time this video airs, because I record these like 60 days in advance, I will have had this figure, but I guess I will be displaying him without those. This is a figure I'm definitely bringing Hasbro to Bird Court over, because, yeah, come on, you really should have known better on this one. You can't chalk it up to budget or not understanding the content, because it's basic Spider-Man. All right, what other examples do you guys have out there of toys that just don't match the content or feel like budget took away a feature? I'd love to know in the comments, and hey, maybe I can do a video addressing those. Let me know, and thanks as always for sharing this video. It's the best way to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.